I've become aware of something is that increasingly leadership is being linked to influence, and that influence is being linked to attention. We have to start really kind of thinking about, if we want to lead, whether that's leading our teams, leading our organizations, about this thing we call media/marketing. Now, if you were to ask me 5 years ago if I did any marketing, I would have proudly and aggressively and disdainfully told you no. What was interesting though is I was actually engaged in a form of marketing. I had built my business and grown my business using telemarketing. Even though I was really prideful about it, I started to notice some flaws in that strategy. One of the flaws that I noticed is that if I wasn't around to do it, what happens? Stops. If I was to come to an event like this, I'd probably have to bring my laptop. I'd probably have my leads with me. Yeah. I'd have to scoot out, maybe make a few phone calls, like that sort of thing. And I also had somebody that I had given the majority of kind of my thinking, like influence over my thinking, telling me loud that advertising and marketing, now he was kind of blending those two together. They're actually two different things, which we'll look at together today. But advertising was stupid and dumb and you shouldn't do it. Now, I understand why that was the message, because it's very difficult to do advertising, spending money, and have it still be really profitable for you to make the money that you want. And then I started to notice, I heard somebody say something. He said, if you're a crappy marketer, you have to become a rock star salesperson. And I was like, was he talking to me? And then I heard somebody say something else, which is that if you look at the kind of skills of business, there's two skills. Well, there's more than two skills, but the king is direct sales. Do you know what the queen is? Marketing. And I started to notice these patterns, right? Because if you want to produce good outcomes, you got to notice patterns. And one of the patterns I noticed is I would be at learning events where real estate agents were there, purely real estate agents. And they would ask like, hey, who here's made $1 million or more over the last, 12 months? 10 maybe stood up. Yeah? And those people might make 2 million, depending on their marketplace and price point. If the market was gangbusters, they might make 4 or 5 million. There's somebody in this room who's done that. Raise your hand, Neil. Yes, he has, when the marketplace is wild and vibrant and dynamic, right? But then I would be at learning events sitting in the front row with Alex at Platt in Tony Robbins events, and I'm sitting next to people who are talking about 20 million, 30 million, 50 million, and I'm like, what in the world am I doing? Yeah? And I started to notice a pattern. Those individuals not only were extremely competent, but they knew how to market. Yeah? So I had to admit to myself that I was actually wrong about something. So once I realized that I was wrong, and my life has changed the most, another pattern is when I've noticed I was wrong, changed my mind, or I've walked away from things. So I figured, hey, I should learn how to become a marketer, because I'm a rock star salesperson, but I don't know how to market. And I approached marketing in the same way that I've approached any skill. I sought out guides. Yeah? I hired a guy, his name's Ryan. He had multiple businesses doing $1 million or more a year in revenue. His primary client acquisition channel was online platforms. And I paid him $25,000 to teach me how to use, what are these things for? And Ryan taught me about the platforms, and I had his content creators on calls with my content creators. We sucked out as much from their brains as we could. And then I started to attend different events. And at one of these events, I see this guy named Donald Miller speak. Anybody know who Donald Miller is? StoryBrand. Yeah, building a StoryBrand. And I don't know about you, there's a saying that says, you know the truth by the way it feels. I saw him speak. I looked at my wife. I'm like, this guy's the truth. He knows what he's talking about. I bought his book. I devoured it. I literally transcribed it. I wrote the whole book in my notebook. Now, what that resulted in was me going from no meaningful amount of attention, like 2,000 subscribers on Instagram, to now 64,000, 600,000 views on Meta every 90 days, nothing meaningful on YouTube, to now 14,000 subscribers on YouTube, and 1.6 million views on YouTube per year. Let me ask you a question. Could you make 1.6 million contacts in a calendar year? Nope. I would have to be Taylor Swift to get in front of that many people, right? But these platforms allow me to do that. Now, more important than those vanity metrics, because those metrics, I want everybody to look at me, okay? Because you all pay attention to the wrong things. They mean nothing. More importantly, here's the important part. 15 to 20 people who are rock stars reach out to me every year and tell me that they want to partner with me at EXP. And for that reason, that's why I'm in the top 30 in the entire company for frontline agents. Does that make sense? So, and I tell you that not to impress you, but more to impress upon you that if you want to lead in anything that you're doing moving forward, you must, I repeat, you must take this seriously. You must understand media. You must have a strategy for it, because when we don't have a strategy, do you know what we do? We're just lazy about it. So you know what we post about? Ourselves. And you know what you need to ask yourself? Every time you submit, who is this helping? And almost invariably, the answer will be nobody, because it's just, we use these platforms as a mechanism to glorify our ego, not as a mechanism to position us as a guide to help people to solve their problems. I heard Donald say something so amazing. You know what he said? Don't be famous for doing something cool. Be famous for solving a problem. Because guess which pays better? I'm going to share with you another book that I recently read in my journey to become a rockstar marketer called This is Marketing by Seth Godin. Seth's written a bunch of cool books. You know, he's a kind of guru in the marketing space. One of those books, The Purple Cow, it's really famous. And what I'm going to be kind of sharing with you, amongst other things, are these two main ideas. The first is, what's the difference between advertising and marketing? Because they are different. There was a time, have you guys read or ever seen the show Mad Men? Dope show. If you haven't, you should watch it. And yeah, the best, right? And at that time in the 50s and 60s, advertising and marketing were in the same department. Yes? That is not the case now. They are completely two different things. Okay? So, but first we got to get clear on what those two things are. The second is what's this kind of idea or thing called permission marketing? Right? Getting people's permission. Because I heard Russell Brunson say something recently and it really struck me. He said, the currency of the future is not information anymore. Now, why would that be true?
There's too much of it.
That, and also now with AI, I can tell it to go build me software and it will. The currency of the future will be trust. Now, why is that so important? Well, let me ask you guys a question, my smart brothers and sisters that are gathered here today. Do we trust financial institutions today? Do we trust governments? Do we trust medical establishments? Do you realize that we're getting our guidance on our bodies from influencers who never went to medical school? Because of how little we trust doctors. That's insane. Yes? So if I want to be a leader and if the currency of the future is trust, I should be learning how to cultivate trust intentionally and purposefully and using these mediums as a mechanism to do that. Most agents think marketing is posting more. Well, let's first kind of have this conversation. And whatever you say is fine. Remember, this is a space where we can triangulate, and be honest with each other. This only works if we're honest. What do you guys think the difference between advertising and marketing actually is? Not a trick question. I'm genuinely interested in your answer. So when I say the word advertising to you, what pops up? Funnels?
A carpet bombing.
Okay, explain what carpet bombing is.
Bombing is just a broad blanket where you throw it out everywhere with you have an avatar client that you hope gets it, but it's just more or less blanketing an area.
Yeah, perfect. So we're all circling around the same thing. Advertising is where I try to steal somebody's attention. Remember how Jose was saying there's different top of funnel, bottom funnel, where one is where somebody's raised their hand, they've already said they're interested. The other one is where you're interrupting them in hopes that they, perhaps would be interested. So advertising is where I'm just trying to capture your attention and potentially sell you something that you probably don't need. Mm-hmm. Yes? Marketing is to help people to solve their problems. It's different. But do you understand that if I don't understand those distinctions, I'm starting off with my hands tied behind my back? Because I'm not clear on what they are. Yes? And most agents think it's just posting more. But have you noticed that even if people post more, their engagement doesn't go up and nor does their followers or their influence? Why do you think that might be? People don't care. And who are they talking about the whole time? Themselves. Guys, it's embarrassing. And that's where story branding comes in. And I know that 7 times said is once heard, so we're going to go over it again. It needs to become the Bible of your marketing efforts. First is understanding the difference between advertising and marketing. Second is story branding. So every book, every movie, every play you've ever watched follows the same process, the same blueprint, because we've been telling stories for thousands of years, and we've figured out kind of best practices, if you will. Yeah? And the best practices, because stories, I need you to understand, stories have the capacity to hold human attention better than any technology we've ever created. And these platforms that we have in our, this free distribution, they're all platforms for telling
Stories.
so if I want to get good at telling stories, I should know the blueprint, yes? The blueprint is there's a hero. The hero has a problem that they cannot solve themselves. Because if the hero could solve the problem themselves, would there be a story? Nope. And then they meet everybody look at me, a guide. Yes? Who gives them a plan. Here, do this. Yeah? Calls them to action because heroes don't take action on their own accord. They need to be prompted to take action. That's why if you do posts and you don't ask them to do anything, they just watch. Then the hero uses the plan, they get what they want, and then they avoid what they don't want. That is every story, every movie you've ever watched. Let me prove my point. What's fascinating is who is the weakest person in the whole story? Nope. Nope. The villain. Because does Voldemort have a body? Nope. Darth Vader, he's like all messed up, right? Okay. Who's the second weakest person in the whole story? The hero. Huh. Because does Harry know he's a wizard? No. Does Luke Skywalker know he's the best Jedi ever? No. Does he make mistakes all the time? Does he even know how to use the Force? Nope. Who's the strongest person in the whole story? The guide. Obi-Wan. Yes, Yoda. Everybody look at me. You guys are all making yourself the second weakest person in the whole story. Because in all your posts, who's the hero? Look at me on vacation. Who's the hero? Yes? Look at this home I just sold. Who's the hero? Yes? I have 12 pendings. Who's the hero? You. The whole time. You need to position yourself as a guide to help people to solve their problems. Notice if you guys have, watched my media, do I talk about myself a lot? Am I showing you all the stuff that I'm doing? What do I spend all the time doing? Positioning me as a guide to help them solve their problems, yes? Is it not correlated that I'm doing that and 15 to 20 people are reaching out to me every year to partner with me? They're directly correlated. It's strategic, guys. Do you understand? And I was at a meeting and I love these people. It's great. I'm talking about, I'm on a panel and I'm talking about media. And this one woman, she looks like an absolute model. And she's like, oh yeah, it's really interesting. You just look at the camera and you talk. And I said, ma'am, in my head, okay? Look out in the crowd. How many people look like you? Oh, that's right, none. So you know how good that advice is gonna do everybody? 0. You know what the guy said next to me? Well, you just need to find your magic. I said, what the? Is this real? And people are like, oh yeah, you find your magic. You were in the room, right? And I had to, I was like biting my tongue, right? And this is what we see from the agent community trying to teach us how to do this stuff. Nobody wakes up wanting you. Nobody wakes up saying, you know what? I need to call Aaron today. Nope, they don't do that. What do they wake up wanting? More freedom, more listings, more leverage, more confidence, more consistency. Nobody wants to partner with you guys. Nobody wants to they don't wake up in the morning like, hey, I need to call Andrew to sell my house. No, they want the feeling they believe partnering with you or hiring you will create. The emotion is the destination. You're simply the vehicle. You are literally a speed bump along the path of them getting what they want. So instead of saying who is my ideal client, ask yourself a question. Who's my ideal student? Who do you want to change? Because marketing is about helping people to change. What specifically are they struggling with? Think about it. Agents in this market, in this environment, what specifically is one of their main struggles? Deal consistency, lead sources, conversion, yes? Do you think you posting on Instagram, you working out is going to get that person to call you? No. You need to be talking about what they want to know about. What keeps them awake at night? What is that person worried about every night when they put their head on their pillow? Money, bro. How can I actually make money at this? Is this the right career for me? Did I make the right decision? And then what frustrations are they carrying? Do you see how if you don't think through this, you're going to be lazy with your marketing? 100%. Does anybody want to share, real quick, what their ideal student is? Yeah.
Not my ideal student, but I feel like I'm trying to say something and I'm just going to try to say it.
Yeah, say it.
But in real estate, like it's been said, we get rewarded for doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And then we think doing that wrong thing got us the results, so we do more of it. I feel like that happens so much in this. Like everybody's putting themselves up. They got it all backwards. They're being the hero. And somehow, some way, people are still getting some results with that because so few people are doing this the right way.
Yeah.
And I think it's nuanced and it's mentally challenging to go through these exercises and get it right. And people don't do it. So they revert back to what's comfortable.
What's comfortable?
Yeah, like, we're awesome. Look at us. We're the best.
Yeah. Well, and what I would propose is, though, too, is like, it's interesting because when you're saying, like, as far as they've achieved results doing that, I'd be interested to see if because I believe that we're in a very interesting cycle as a company. Like, if for those of us that are with EXP, and if we're talking specifically about attraction. So we went through a season for the first 10 years where we had zero competition. That's insane. Do you know that Amazon had 7 years of no competition? We had 10. So strategically in that environment, certain strategies, let's say picking up the phone and calling somebody to tell them about what we're doing, yeah? And or sending a video to explain what we're doing was probably effective in that environment.
I think that people felt more certainty through association.
Yeah.
Of being around people that were marketing themselves that way.
Sure.
That they felt like, well, this has got to be better than what I got.
Yeah, and if I can ride their coattails, I'm going to build.
Right.
But they don't.
But they don't, and they didn't.
And they didn't. So what I was getting at is that, like, and I'm not suggesting this is true in all instances, but I'm kind of imagining, right? So when the environment changes, now there's 66 models that are copycats. Everybody's been pitched. Everybody knows what we're doing. So will those strategies work in this environment that were working 10 years ago when we had no strat? Nope, they won't. Period. They aren't. Yes? They aren't. So what I would imagine was happening, I'm just imagining, is when you're riding a tsunami that's enormous, yeah? I just read a book about the guy who created Prime America. He went through, in 4 years, he went from like nothing to like billions of dollars of sales. And it's people that were with him at that time, bro, went from like teachers to like making in the 80s like $2 million a year, right? But he went through this wild growth stage. But then if you look at business cycles, if you study business cycles, the next stage after that wild growth stage is where you become like the mature business. And the mature business has two separate problems, because all stages have problems, but the mature business has two problems. One is churn, which we're experiencing. Two is competition, which we're experiencing. And what happens to growth in that environment? It slows. And then we're at a loss. We're like, okay, well, what should I be doing? Because what worked previously in a different environment with massive growth is not working. And I'm here boasting and bragging, and that's not working. And to your point, the reason why this works is because everybody else is doing that other thing. This just takes a long time. But it's the only thing that pays well enough for the effort. And I believe that in the future, the top attractors in this company will understand this really well. They'll understand this, they'll do this really good, but they will have a lot of influence and a lot of attention. And people will reach out to them. Does that make sense? So yeah, like getting clear on who's the ideal student. So I'm clear that there's two avatars that I'm interested in. First is an agent doing 0 to 100 transactions. And I'm clear on what they want to know about. They want to know about deals. They want to know about listings and conversion. They want to know about lead sources. Yeah? Who do you think the second avatar I'm interested in?
Over 100 that build time, location.
And time freedom and location freedom. I just had a guy reach out to me. He saw me speak once at the Hispanic Association of Realtors 4 years ago. He's been following him on media. $1.5 million team. He said specifically that to me. He called me out of everybody. The reason he called me is because he knew I built something. That's exactly what he wants to do. I haven't spoken to that individual in 5 years. But that's actually not true because he's been speaking to me in 5 years through what? Mm-hmm. Yes? And how many people do you think tried to recruit him? Everybody who's everybody who's everybody. When Quentin called me, Quentin said, hey bro, I'm going on listing appointments. I'm at this age. I don't want to do it anymore. I want to get paid for the knowledge that I know. And I am, listen to me, watching you do it. Can you help me? Does Quentin know everybody who's everybody who's everybody who's everybody? Yes. But he called me. That's how powerful this is. People don't buy opportunities, they buy feelings. So that agent, like that student that you're going after, they want to feel feelings of belonging. Yeah? Security. peace of mind. They want to be in control of their business. Confidence, status, freedom. Your content should speak to those emotions. So what I started to do, because I noticed that not everybody sees themselves in me. I'm very clear on that. But what I did is I started to, where's Daniel Carrar? Is he in the room? Yeah, so Daniel, he partnered with us, whatever, he's getting good results. So I interviewed him for the podcast. Because he is the, product of the ecosystem. He's testimony. He does that.
He's the hero.
He's the hero. Not
The guy.
Not me, him. I'm making him the hero. Now, when he does this, how quickly did Connor call you after he saw that?
Like immediately after he finished it.
So immediately after you watch this another guy doing 20, 30 deals a year, which in any office in the United States is probably top 10 agents in the whole company, watches that video. He's like, I've been watching Aaron's content for a long time, but I saw you and I saw myself in you. I want to join. Just like that. Yeah? Great marketing starts with empathy. So in order to be positioned, I learned this from Donald Miller, in order to be considered as a guide, you have to deploy two separate characteristics. One is empathy. The second is competency. Yes? So how can I demonstrate empathy in marketing and media?
Feel felt bound.
Explain that.
Well, when somebody like shares something with you, and it could be an objection or it could just be a strong emotion, you just like, hey, I totally get that. I actually understand how you feel. I felt the same way, but here's what I found.
Yeah,
so
good.
It's like a gentle redirect.
Yeah, and look at this great reversal. So here we have some people content, look at me, I'm gorilla, I'm the man or whatever. But then let's say you begin a piece of content like, hey, at the beginning of my career, I was completely lost. I made how many people have heard me say at the beginning of anything that I only made $13,000 my first calendar year? Why? I'm making myself ordinary.
Relatable.
That's how I start the book.
Relatable.
It's relatable. And I'm also letting you know what I feel. I know what it feels like. Yes? It's actually the opposite, which we learn biblically is to boast in our weakness. We do the opposite. Marketing starts with, who can I help? So ask yourself, who am I specifically equipped to help? So notice, who can I help? Not how can I sell, how can I convince, and how can I recruit? And empathy is understanding people, like what people want, what they fear, what they believe, and what they hope for. The best way to complain about something is to make it better. So how many of us, because we know we've been in the industry a long time, most offices generally they're run by, people doing the best they can under circumstances. Do they actually equip agents to succeed at a high level? Usually. No. Do they have you beg and borrow and steal for you to come to meetings that are a complete waste of time? Yes. And what do most agents do? They just complain about it. You know what I'm telling you all to do? Make it better. And document making it better. Meaning, you've made it better for your organization, like your family-run business, which we'll learn about. Let people see it. Document it. Because nobody knows. Or few do. And more should. Does that make sense? And it'll speak to, hey, what people want, what people fear, what they believe, and what they hope for. What is something that you hear from agents all the time that they're looking for that they're not getting from their current business or their current brokerage? What do you hear all the time? Leads, mentorship, what, support? So advertising is not marketing. You have to share your path to better. That's called marketing. Because every one of us has life experience. Does every one of us have a life experience that we did something and it was not great? Yes or yes? Yes. Okay, so share the path to better. How did I get it to be better? I started off the book. I said I made $13,000 in a calendar year. And the rest of the book is me sharing the path on how I did better. The lessons, the mistakes, the breakthroughs, something you've learned. The question is, who needs that lesson? Because somebody needs it. Yeah? Somebody needs that lesson. Somebody needs that lesson of how, Jen, you not only experienced that, but broke through that. So what mistakes have you made? What breakthroughs do you have and what did you learn? Who needs that lesson? Who needs to hear it? So exercise. This is great. Okay, I want you to complete this and then I might call on a few of you. My content is for agents who believe. Because you know what one of the best ways to draw your tribe towards you? Share with them what you believe. My content is for agents who believe. You fill in that blank. I focus on agents who want, fill in the blank. I promise engaging with my content will help agents blank. Everybody clear on why this is so important when you're creating content? Permission is the new currency. One of the biggest ideas, again, and I kind of knew this before, but this idea that attention is valuable. When somebody follows you or watches your videos, when they open your email, they're actually paying you. They're paying you with their most valuable asset, which is what? Time and attention. That's right. It's actually really, really valuable. Now, the question is where do I point that? Yeah? Because one of the questions people ask me, which I think is interesting, I was on a call with like the top teams at EXP. They asked me to teach kind of marketing to them. And one of the guys raised his hand and he's like, well, how do you monetize the attention? Yeah, well, so I kind of chuckled internally and I was like, yeah, like you don't get it. I'm actually interested. The only thing I'm interested is you trusting me enough to partner with me. And I've had to go through an evolution. So like, you know, we've done seminars or webinars where we get people on calls and, you know, sell them stuff, make $25,000 in 90 minutes. But I'm aware that when I do that, I'm sabotaging trust. Yes? Because they're like, oh, you just want to sell me something. Anybody notice that marketers ruin everything? What actually ends up happening is that the monetizing of the attention by selling them something becomes the main event and not attraction. Hit and run, baby. That's right. That's exactly what ends up happening. Do you see? So I had to like unwind that. And then I noticed something. Marketers ruin everything. So 2 years ago, if I had somebody, a VA in my DMs, DMing people are like, oh, hey, Aaron, this is great. Do you think I'm getting that response now? Everybody I DM immediately assumes it's what?
AI.
Yep. And everybody goes like this, I don't want to buy anything. Do you know why? Because marketers, you have to use ManyChat and they beat it into the ground. So you know what I told my VA who's in my DMs last month? We are not selling anybody anything. What we're doing is inviting them to school. We're giving them the first 5 chapters of our book for free. We're sending them to webinars. We're adding value. So that way, ultimately, we will cultivate. And then at some point, if they ever make a decision about changing companies, they will come where? Which is all I want. Does that make sense? So don't waste it, bro. Listen to me. Please, the goal isn't views. It's just vanity metrics. Like we're paying attention to the wrong thing. You shouldn't be like googly-goggly about somebody who has 1 million views. You know what you should be googly-goggly about? Somebody who has 10,000 views and has turned it into $1 million business. You know what I think the criteria should be for anybody who's talking about media? How much money do they make from it? And are they monetized on their platforms? Because most of them aren't. 95% of them aren't. Okay? So the goal is permission. Here's what real permission looks like, guys. Pay very close attention. Real permission is if you stop showing up, people would ask, where you went? Where'd you go? I'm used to seeing that guy all the time in my feed. I know him. Like it adds value. It's helpful to me. Think about that. That's powerful. Ask yourself a question. If you stop posting, would anybody say, where'd you go?
So if you do want to change your content and then you completely flip it into something else, could that look like that you quit the other thing? Or like
yes.
For me, like I'm posting my listings and it's not doing anything.
Yeah.
I'm obviously realizing that.
Yeah.
And if I stop posting those, like, would they,
Well, like a few things. So the first thing to consider, so there's two, like we have to think about who the avatar is. So if the avatar is like consumers buying and selling, posting listings has zero value because they can get that everywhere. It's lazy. It's one-dimensional, which are pictures, which is crazy because any of you guys ever been to a sporting event or a concert recently? Is anybody taking pictures or are they doing video? It's all moving to video, right? So think about it this way. There's 2 separate avatars. So let's say your avatar is the consumer in your specific area. Let's say, you know, like sellers. Here's the question to ask. What problems is that individual trying to solve? What do they want to know about? Yeah. If they're trying to invest in real estate in that market, what do they want to know about? What problems are they trying to solve? And then start creating content for them. Now, for agents, the content becomes, again, who's your avatar? I would propose your avatar is very similar to Eliseo, somebody doing 20, 30 deals a year, or anywhere in between, 0 to like 30, who wants to get to 50 or get to 60. Because so you're a rock star doing 50. You reached out to me even though we'd never spoken to each other because you perceived me to be a guide to help you to solve your problem, which is to get to the next level. Does that make sense?
So could one page be both avatars?
No.
Yeah.
I think you need separate because it's confusing, and here's why. So let's imagine, so YouTube, I saw this stat which blew my mind. YouTube is now 10% of all TV screen time. Not like screen time, TV screen time. So you know what that means? YouTube is not competing with TV, it's becoming TV.
Oh, definitely.
Yes? So now watch this. Let's say me and Neil want to sit down and watch a football game. Yeah? And we sit down and we get ourselves some snacks and maybe some beverages. And then we turn on ESPN and they have bakery on. What are me and Neil thinking? What the hell is this doing there? This is not supposed to. Okay, that's what your avatar thinks when you're posting working out. Do you understand? They're coming here to get their problem solved and you have like bakery, the great baking show, when they came to watch a football game. I heard Greg Cardone say something which I thought was great. He's like, dude, I don't want to be on these platforms. I don't want to be doing this. That's where all the eyeballs are. So who cares if you want to do it or not? And then it bothers me, okay? And sometimes I have to be like, because you know what people say to me? What? Not everybody's you, Aaron. You're a special boy. You could do it. I can't do that. Yes? I don't think that's true. Right? Because everybody has a story to tell and everybody can you know that Jessica, people watch her content that won't even look at mine. She attracts a whole separate group of individuals. Do you know that 87% of the people who watch my content are men between the ages of 18 and 45? Look around the room. Look, right there. Here's the avatar. Ready? How old are you? How old are you? How old are you?
29.
How old are you?
25.
Oh my God. It's on purpose. It's intentional. What we did, I purged our channel because I was doing some of that too. So like 2 years ago, we went on our YouTube channel and anything that wasn't very specific to the avatar, we purged it. Videos of me doing cold plunges, nobody cares. Get rid of it. Right? Me do it, like just get it off. And then what we did is rearrange the channel with playlists.
Did that hurt you at all when you deleted?
No, here's what happened. It's so cool. So remember, like if YouTube is it's not competing with TV, it's becoming TV, I should start editing content like it's. And how does TV edit content? With seasons and episodes. Oh yeah, when you watch The Landman, season 1, which is a great show. Season 1, you're like the main character, bro. Season 1, season 1 with 8 episodes, yes? So then I was like, oh, okay, cool. So then we have playlists where we have a playlist on how an agent could go from 0 to 25 deals. That's a season, it has 8 episodes. Then we have playlists on live roleplay, because I'm curious, do these guys want to know how to convert? Mm-hmm. Then we have playlists of talks that I've given. Then we have playlists of me and Jose doing a roleplay that we do on Wednesdays where we pull the audio and it's live and we put it as a faceless video on YouTube. Because that's what and I make it, and then what we did is we ordered the videos that we knew have like 25, 35,000 views. We ordered them from most views to the least because the algorithm's already done the job for us. We know what's good. For the season 1, episode 1, from 0 to 25, that's progressive. But for, let's say, a playlist on live role plays, and one of that we have has 25,000 views, that's number 1. The next one has 17,000 views. Next one has this. We have a playlist on expires. I did a YouTube with Pace Morby. It has 37,000 views on YouTube. That's number 1. You see what I'm saying? Like it's already done the heavy lifting for us. And then you know what I'm giving them? Okay, so check this out. Why is YouTube willing to pay billions, hundreds of millions of dollars to buy catalogs of content? So you know what they're optimizing for? Channels that have libraries of bingeable content. What am I creating? A library of what? Bingeable content. You know, I had a guy, he's not here, he reached out to me. He was like, hey bro, he called me out of the blue. I was coming back from an event. He said, hey, I've watched 90 hours of your content, 100 hours of your content in the last 90 days. Think about that for a second.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
How much time in the physical world would it take for him to get 100 hours with me? A year? How much would it cost him? Thousands of dollars. Tens of thousands of dollars. He was able to get that all for free in 90 days. And it compresses time, because how do we decide if we trust people or not? Like, okay, let's say before these platforms, how do I decide if I trust you.
Friends and family.
And I have to spend a meaningful amount, yes? I usually have to see how you interact with your wife. I have to see the way you treat like people who can't benefit you. I got to see you in different situations, yes? And then over time I determine, hey, Neil's a good guy, I can trust him. Do you know what media does? Massively compresses that. Instead of it taking a year or two, it takes 90 days. And then when they reach out to you, they're pre-interested, pre-qualified, ready to go. Do you think those conversations, like, Cassidy, when you called me, was there like a huge amount of objections about partnering? No. For you? Jack? No questions. Hey, you know what they said? Where we started?
I feel Gary Vee is like a pioneer in that space. And right now what he's doing is creating multiple channels for everything that he's doing.
And this is really interesting you say that. So I did something probably a year ago where, you know, I kind of felt it on my heart to do. So I've been doing this Bible study for the organization. Some of you guys participate in it. And I've been doing it for like a year and a half. And it's recorded because it's on Zoom. But then I kept feeling like, you know, like, gosh, like I should be sharing that, but not sharing it for my glory. Yeah. Because the driving force as I thought about it and prayed about it more was like, hey, if my children or grandchildren or anybody in my family wants to hear the gospel, who better than to learn it from than me? Right? And I don't know about you guys, I would love, like Carla has a guy in her family, her like great grandfather, Constantino, he had 17 children. He owned tobacco farms in Cuba. That guy was a gangster. Yeah. I would love to be able to watch him do his thing. I would love to be able to have AI translate in his voice in English and I could hear him teach. Bro, do you realize these are repositories of data where your children and your great-grandchildren can watch you do your thing and give them your best stuff, right? So I started to, once I made that decision, to Ricky's point, we created a YouTube channel. It's a faceless YouTube channel, and we use AI-generated like animation. Yeah, but it's my voice. Yeah. And you know that started to do its thing. It gets like 30,000, like 30,000 views every month or whatever. And that's not the purpose, and that's not the mission. But then here's what happened, which is very interesting. The team, without telling me, they started to take some of the shorts and put on the main channel with 64,000. Mm-hmm. What do you think my initial response was?
Nope.
I don't know. You should have asked me first, right? But then immediately I was like, no, like, of course, because the best way to attract your tribe is to tell them what you believe. Do you see? You're adding another layer. What I find very interesting, we talked about empathy a lot. Let's talk about generosity. Because most content, is it generous? What is it like? Say that louder, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's not generous to anybody. People trust people who help. They just do. It activates the law of reciprocity. You guys read the book by Dr. Robert Cialdini, Influence? He talks about the Hare Krishnas. Those cats would generate like $1 million a year in airports when you used to be able to go into airports. You know how they would generate it? They would hand you a flower and stand there and smile to you. And you know what you would feel? Obligated to give them something. They'd raise $1 million a year doing that thing, bro. The law of reciprocity. People trust people who help. People follow people who help. If I'm not generating a following, it's probably because I'm not helping anybody. So what are you doing every week that earns permission, not attention? Permission. What's so valuable that people would miss you if you disappeared? What are you doing every week that earns permission, not attention? Permission. What's so valuable that people would miss you if you disappeared, if you stopped showing up? And building trust is this flywheel, okay? And here's what's wild. We are the more connected than any generation on the planet. But fewer people are trusted than ever. Isn't that an interesting dichotomy? More connected than ever, but fewer people are trusted than ever. That means trust has become the rarest asset in business and on the planet. Trust is built through the following: consistency, frequency, generosity, and relevance. Not hacks, not funnels. Well, let me ask you a question. Okay, so
frequency is how often, consistency is being.
Correct. So frequency is how often. So at the beginning, when these platforms first came out, do you think they had more people to post or more people to watch? More people watch. They needed more content creators. That's why they create creator programs and incentives. Yes? Now do you think, how is that balanced? Do you think there's way more people creating content? Yes. Right? So now there's way more people creating content. So was it easier to kind of go viral before? Yes, it was. So, but as a result, if I'm posting once a day, is that enough frequency? No way. There's billions and billions and billions and billions of content. It's not enough, right? Frequency equals familiarity. I'm posting 3 to 4 times a day, short form, on all platforms, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, Reels, and 5 times a week on YouTube long form. But the way we're getting to that is, again, we're just documenting what we're doing. So every meeting that you have with your team, record it. Yeah? Whenever you talk, record it. Me and Jose do live role plays on Wednesdays, we record it. Right? We do a thing where we hop on Fridays, it's a live stream, it's recorded. The platform optimizes for long form. If you can give it long form, guess what it does? Pushes it. That's why all the big podcasts have 3, 4, 5-hour podcasts. That's why. Okay? Yeah. Generosity. What do you think I mean by generosity?
Providing value.
Give freely with your content.
Give people your best stuff. Now, why don't we do that? Yes. How does this conflict if I'm trying to monetize a course? See the conflict it creates? Yes? And some of us, not all of us, but I know it's true because I know I had it at one stage, is we think if I give people my best stuff, then I will train my competition and I won't make as much money as I'm currently making. Yes? And they might become better than me, but I have to show up generously. What caused Jack to be open is because I kept giving him $1 million worth of game for free. Yes? I want people to feel like they're stealing from me. Yeah? It felt like that. He's kind of like, dude, I had a guy who's in a program. He's already paying for something, like a group call. He's like, hey, bro, what's your Zelle? I'm like, why? He's like, I want to send you some lunch money. I was like, you know how to do that. Bro, he sent me $250 for no reason. I'm like, I'll take it. Like, cool. Let's go get some sushi, babe. But
those smoothies are expensive.
right, but here's what's interesting. He's doing that because he feels like he's stealing from me. Reciprocity. I'm giving him so much value. I taught him how to do probates. He's now taking 4 listings a month. He's never done that before. Yes.
And I would argue that if you ever want to monetize in a wider way.
And here's the vision, just so you know, okay? Because I told the team, I sat Gabriella and that one down, Carla, and I was like, hey, we're not in the attraction business. We're in the trust business. And we're building an ecosystem, by the way, of agents that do on-market and off-market deals. And those people who do off-market deals, they usually need money. And if you can prolong the ask, it can be bigger. So the vision is when this guy gets out of production, we create a company that lends money. And I can say to all the people who trust me, which I've earned it over time, hey, if you're making all this money, give us $100,000, we'll lend it out. We'll pay you 8-9% on your money. We'll lend it out at 12, we'll keep the spread. And everybody will be super happy to do it. Because that's really, what's that really about? Is it really about the prospectus or is it if you trust me or not? That's really what it's about when it all shakes out. Does that make sense? Bro, once you have trust and you have integrity, you can do anything. There's no, Pace Morbius people reached out to me, because I kind of know him a little bit, and he has a lending fund. So I'm like, all right, send me the prospectus. I looked at it, bro, it's backed by his signature. No assets. You know how much money people have given him? Like 10 million. Can you believe that, Neil? 10 million bucks on his name. And now for me, I'm like, I love you, bro, but I'm not doing that. It's not backed by assets, but I thought to myself, wow. That's something. People trust him. Dude, Grant Cardone, who I've participated and invested money with him, I haven't bought a single thing from that guy, but I've given him millions of dollars because I was on calls where his mother-in-law is on the call and invested her whole investment accounts. I was on calls in 2020 where he's jumping on every week and telling us what's going on. You think Jamie Dimon's going to do that? Hell no. No way. Not in a million years. He'd have an attorney between you. You'd never be able to talk to him. This guy's showing up every single time, yeah? And this is the flywheel. So look, there's frequency, right? I do it consistently. I'm doing relevance and generosity, and then it becomes this wheel. Yes? And that's precisely why I just wrote a book, because now I'm creating another platform for people to interact with me. Yes? And you can't say the word authority without the word author. And if my intention is to position myself as a guide to help people to solve their problems, does that position me as such? So you know what the next book's going to be? About attraction. Yeah? Why? Because that's the other avatar. Does that make sense? And then you just keep building. And when I do that, by the way, does it make it easier for everybody else to attract? 100%. If you know whose blueprint I'm following? Gary Keller wrote a book, did he not? The Red Book? And what did all their agents do? Give it to people. You guys could all be giving it to do more deals to the buyers on your listings, the buy-side agents. Hey, you should read this. Right? They read it, whatever. Hey, what'd you think? Hey, if I could get you on a call with him, we can answer any questions about your business. Would that be helpful? Oh my God, you know him like that? You can get me on a call? I've literally, right. Well, and literally, you know what's crazy? I've literally had people, I've had this happen. They're like, bro, I didn't think it was going to be you on this call. This is crazy. Can I take a picture on Zoom? They're like, that's insane. There's no reason they should be doing that. That's crazy. That's the power of this. Okay? And what this is resulting is the following: 15 to 25 agents every single year reaching out to me. Okay? And that positions me at number 36 in the entire company for frontline agents. So 14 brought on this year. We're on track to do like whatever that is, 26, 27. And you know, some of these people are bringing on like giant teams or whatever, but on there is one of the like legends of this game right ahead of me. He's got like, how many agents does Jay have? 8,500. And look at your boy, I'm not too far behind him. And by the way, width equals depth. Yeah? So this is what matters. Everything I just said to you leads to this.
Yeah, like the vast majority of those people above you are people that came over
With a team. Do you see? And by the way, if you build this properly, here's the thing that's wild, okay? In studying this, I recognize that RevShare really functions like an annuity. So meaning like an annuity in the financial world, you can give a bunch of money up front and then they pay you a specific amount of money basically in perpetuity. Well, this functions like an annuity, except that if you build it properly where you have a mechanism to continue to keep bringing on frontline agents, the amount that it pays out in perpetuity will go up. That's dope. Yes? With time freedom and location freedom. You could be anywhere on the planet, you have an operational partner who runs the whole thing. Does that make sense? Okay. And then, you know, here's this flywheel. Again, you show up, you help people, you earn attention, you earn permission, you build trust, you create change, people share the story. More people arrive and they show up. It just keeps happening. It's flywheel, right? Persistent, consistent, frequent stories delivered to align with the audience, right? The biggest mistakes agents make is they quit before it compounds. They quit before it compounds. What do you think I mean by that? That's right. It takes a long time, bro. It's a long game. So here are the main takeaways, okay? Marketing is not a department. Marketing is leadership. Because leadership is really about helping people change. And marketing is helping people to change. It's helping people to solve their problems. I know. So the question isn't how many agents can I recruit? The question is how many people can I help become better versions of themselves? And if you do that generously, a small percentage of them will reach out to you, they will partner with you, and over time that compounds and you'll turn around and you'll have thousands of agents in your organization. You do not want to be a public success and a private mess. If your employees audited your private life, would it increase or erode their trust in your leadership? Does your character exceed your brand? Part of being a leader is becoming the type of person that somebody would follow. Not leading is actually robbing people of the gifts that you have. Leadership is proven under constraint. It's not proven when you're in front of a stage. If everything you built doubled tomorrow, would your character sustain it? And if you were to ask people like what leadership is, I think you get very interesting answers. Yeah?